Gosh, follow that. I think we are allowed to clap. Thank you to Jack for that passionate Russian opening there. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Rosslyn Hill Chapel, a spiritual home for open minds, and welcome to our global cafe. I'm Reverend Kate Dean. I'm the minister for this beautiful and sacred place. Whoever you are and wherever you are on life's journey, there is a place for you here in this Unitarian community. Today is a little different, as I welcome you to this global cafe, a place to discuss life, the universe, and everything. So there will be a few chances later on for you to share your thoughts, although you will have to wait until after the service to actually get your coffee. Today, as we've already heard, we are welcoming our multi-talented technicians and singers, Jack Holton, who you've heard, and later Ava will be joining us to sing. First, Jack was singing in Russian, and then later Romanian and Italian. Our children's activities are taking a rest over the summer, and they will return with a separate children's chapel program in September. If you are watching from home, please join us for the virtual side aisle at midday. The Zoom link was sent out in our weekly email update, or you can also find it by clicking the link in the YouTube description. And to those of you in the chapel, of course, please join us in the real side aisle after the service for refreshments. This afternoon, from 2 until 4, we're holding our monthly Death Cafe to talk about end-of-life matters over tea and cake, and maybe some healthy berries as well. We won't have a Death Cafe in August, so this is the last one before our summer break, but usually they occur on the last Sunday of the month. At 6 p.m. this evening, we have our regular 30 minutes of mindfulness, and then at 7 p.m., our evening gathering this week is a pagan ceremony to celebrate the festival of Lamas, which marks the first grain harvest of the season. We will celebrate with music, poetry, reflection, and meditation as we turn the wheel of the year and welcome in this season. You can find information about all of these events on our website, but if you prefer a paper copy, there are copies of our Open Mind newsletter. The August edition is now out, and it's available from the Steward's table. For our collection today, we've returned to the practice of passing our collection basket, and we'll do this during the offertory part of the service. For some of us, this will be a symbolic act, especially if we intend to pay by card, and hopefully the card reader will be available near the piano after the service. We have new gift aid envelopes, so if you are thinking about making your contribution with gift aid and you need a pen, just wave your hand and our steward, Roger, will be able to help you. This is the final Sunday where our collection is split between the upkeep of this beautiful chapel and this month's good cause, the current DEC Afghanistan crisis appeal. And so now I will light our chalice, the symbol of our liberal religious faith. We light our chalice with words from an ancient Egyptian hymn. O God, O Sun, the cattle rest in the fields, the plains and the trees are growing, the birds fly above the wetlands. All creatures find life when you shine upon them. Now, before our greeting, I'm going to invite chapel board member and our stewards coordinator to come forward. Roger Mason, please come and speak to us.
Good morning, everyone. The first verse of the Analects of Confucius says, "After long study, isn't it pleasant to practice what you've learned? Isn't it delightful when friends come from afar? Shouldn't a righteous person be cheerful, even when others don't appreciate them?" The Analects are short sayings and conversations of Master Kung, who lived in China more than 2,500 years ago. His disciples wrote them from memory, and so what we know of Master Kung resembles what we know of Jesus and what we know of Socrates. In the opening verse, Master Kung reminds his followers to be friendly and hospitable to visitors, following ancient Chinese tradition. At Rosslyn Hill Chapel, we seek to be a welcoming and friendly community, even though we may have differences in our belief. Our stewards are the people who do the welcoming at the beginning of each Sunday morning service, and I've been very ably helped by Lilibet today. We're very grateful, or I'm very grateful, to Sally Somerville, who has retired from recruiting and organising stewards. I've taken over, and I take this opportunity to ask regular Sunday morning attenders if you can help us. You'll have a chance to meet the rest of our community regularly and learn more about us. You're welcome to act with a friend's support, as I have today. I hope that I will only need to call on each steward once a month. I usually contact stewards by email, but I can also do so by your speaking to me at previous services, including today, or by phoning me, or by even sending old-fashioned snail mail. Speak to me in the side aisle after the service, contact me by email, or phone me. If you want to contact me by email, I'll give you my address after the service. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Roger. It's a really lovely thing to do, to be able to welcome people to our spiritual community, and also to get to know each other a little more deeply in that way. And today we welcome a few new faces, as well as our regulars. The newest face is little baby Elowen, only 2 weeks old, and we're so delighted to have her big sister Lilibet, as you've heard, and Mummy and Daddy, Steph and John, our Director of Music, here today. So now I ask you to turn to someone near you and say your name. Perhaps you'd like to ask them this question: what does having a sense of adventure mean for you? What does having a sense of adventure mean for you? Thank you, everyone. Things are bubbling in our global cafe already. But I'd like to gather everyone together once again, and we'll sing our first hymn. The words are inside your service sheet. The hymn is Gather Us In. So I'm gathering you together to sing this now. As is our custom, please rise after you've heard the introduction. Let's now sing Gather Us In. Please be seated. Now, I have a story for all ages, and here comes the most helpful person in the chapel. Hello, helpful person. Hello. Would you like to come and sit on this special chair? I'm just going to put it here. So that's my neighbour's house just there. So this story is based on a traditional Taoist Chinese tale, and it comes from a book called How the Children Became Stars. Now this story is all about a woodcutter, and she went out to start chopping her wood so that she could take it to market and sell it. But where was her axe? She looked everywhere. She looked through the wood pile. She looked behind the woodshed. She even went inside her house to find her axe, but it was nowhere to be seen. Now along came a little girl. She was walking along, and the woodcutter recognized that this was the daughter of her neighbor. And she looked at the little girl and she thought, she looks a little bit suspicious. I think that she has taken my axe. Well, she's going to pay for this. And then the little girl went back to her house. Now, the next day, the woodcutter got up, determined to find out who had taken her axe, and she had a pretty good thought about who that might be. And just as she was walking to the neighbour's house, she spotted a pile of wood that she cut a few days ago, and there was the axe. I don't know how it must have got there. And then she spotted a very friendly-looking little girl. Looking a little friendlier this time. Even with a smile, perhaps. Ah, that's better. And she thought, this is strange. This time, that little girl doesn't look quite so suspicious. And that's the tale of the woodcutter. Thank you very much, Lilibet. Yeah. Now I invite you into a time of prayer and meditation. We come together in fellowship with hearts full of joys and full of concerns. We can be inspired by the athleticism of those competing in the Commonwealth Games and the Women's Football Championships. And our hearts go out to those suffering from ill health and victims of violence around the world. If you are holding someone in your heart this morning, I invite you to say their name aloud in the coming moments of stillness, so that we may also hold them in our prayers. Spirit of life and love, God of our hearts, we give thanks for those who bring us joy, and we pray for the safekeeping of those whom we hold in concern. For all those names, spoken and unspoken, may they be surrounded by the loving kindness that we offer them today. Blessed be, and amen. We now pass our collection basket with a reminder that hopefully contactless contributions can be made after the service. Thank you for the many ways that you contribute to our spiritual community through your time, your talent, and your treasure. There are many ways that we can find inspiration in life, and it's always good to stay curious about the world. The British-Ethiopian poet Lem Sisse, OBE, recently wrote that he had achieved a lifetime ambition by having a poem featured on the Underground. He was inspired by the work of the civil engineer, Professor John Burland. 30 years ago, Burland took part in a major international effort to rescue the 800-year-old Leaning Tower of Pisa, which was in danger of complete collapse. Burland, a professor of soil mechanics, worked with this international team, first removing huge amounts of soil from underneath one side, and that they knew was perhaps causing the movement, but then discovering later that it was the water table that was higher on one side, and that was causing the movement. A drainage system was installed, and in 2008, the engineers announced that the tower had been stabilized and that it had stopped the building from moving for the first time in its history. I was intrigued by how Lem Sisse turned this story of soil and drainage management into this short poem that we are about to hear. Inspiration can come from anywhere. The spirit of structure can't be foreseen, for somewhere between the architecture and the dream, more than the sum of its parts, somewhere, somehow, somewhere, the heart. Now, it is said that curiosity can keep you young, and so if you found yourself already looking through those strips of paper on the tables, I don't blame you. There are 20 questions. I'm not expecting you to get through all of them. There are two chances to discuss them. So I invite you now to take a card, each take a card, and then choose one or two to discuss as a group, or you could decide to just answer the question individually, the question that you've taken. And if you're watching at home, a selection of questions that I've selected at random will be displayed for you to reflect on as well. There's always the pass option if you don't feel like taking part today, and we'll have about 10 minutes or so for this first round, and then you'll hear John play a little music to know that it's time to conclude this first round of discussions. So take a question card and start to discuss. Friends, those beautiful notes were your signal to finish up your conversation. Let's join back together again. We'll continue in a few minutes, but first let's sing our next hymn. If you could get your purple hymn books out, it's hymn number 142, Shining Through the Universe. And as you may notice at the bottom of the right-hand page, this is with words from the Tao Te Ching, but translated by our own multi-talented Roger Mason. So let's sing together hymn number 142. Please be seated. We'll now have a short time of reflection and meditation. Our prayer today is adapted from a traditional Hindu prayer. This prayer will be followed by a few moments of stillness to pray or meditate in your own way. We love God, the God of our understanding, for teaching the birds to sing lovely songs. We love God for blessing the children with intelligence and goodness. We love God for loving each of us equally. Blessed be, and amen. Thank you so much, Ava. And now we have another opportunity for discussion. Please do take another question, and we'll have a little shorter, I think 5 to 7 minutes for this one. Thank you, everyone. I do hope we can continue these conversations over refreshments in the side aisle after the service. But for now, let's sing our final hymn. It's in your purple hymn book, hymn number 124. One more step, we will take one more step. Hymn number 124. May the blessing of God rest upon you. May God's peace abide within you. May God's presence light up your heart, now and forevermore. A blessing in the Sufi tradition. Blessed be. Please be seated. thrilling finale to our service. Thank you so much to our singers, Jack Holton and Ava Gheorghiu, and to our Director of Music, John Evans. Yes, let's give John a round of applause as well. Thank you to Roger for helping and Lilibet for helping with the stewarding this morning. Please do join us for refreshments in the side aisle to continue those conversations. Thank you, everyone.